Hi, it's David here with Futures Trading. I'd like to welcome the newest subscribers to our channel. It's 167. In the last video, we had 163. Again, thank you so much for coming on board. We kind of seen a decrease there because we was doing at least 10 for every video. But again, thank you so much for coming on board. If you would, align yourself to the goal of the channel. If you don't know what it is, you can hit that welcome button and find it out. But we really want to care about others and get the community to reflect just that. And so there's a lot of traders here, but they're not professionals because professionals practice the polite etiquette of showing, of course, kindness to those that's in their profession. And just to be, transparent with you guys, I've already ran a company online. I did say this several times over, but I want to say it one more time. I already ran a company online as well as YouTube channel and other social sites or whatever. Took it all offline. My life, of course, I'm involved in other things, and of course, I'm obligated to do other endeavors. So I don't have, of course, have it in me to sit here all day long and just make a bunch of videos. Definitely for people that feel like they're entitled. I can't do it. Now, since making futures trading, I want to say this, make it very plain for you. Since making futures trading, I've considered, and it's still on my mind, contemplating totally deleting the channel, just getting rid of it. Mainly because, again, if there's people that feel like they're entitled to receive the best but don't want to give their best, I don't want to be associated with that. I really don't. Uh, Relationships are transactional and transformational, and so I won't let a relationship, which that's all this is, because I'm not getting paid for it, so it can't be transactional. I don't want the relationships here with the public, mainly the public, to impact me in a negative way. And of course, there's some of you here that I absolutely enjoy the fact that you're here. And you know exactly who you are. And, of course, it's at least the six of you that will like the information as well as comment. And primarily, I know of the ones that comment because it states who you are. And so because you comment, you're the reason why the channel is still here. I want you to know that. You mean just that much that I will keep the channel available currently. All right, now notice I said currently because I already had this going on, and I'm 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 just not one to of course do things that don't make sense. All right, that's really important that I say that, and because some of you have expressed to me that you're learning it, and of course you're not there all the way yet of retaining the information, the channel is still available. I encourage you, please learn it. Please learn it. I want to make sure that you learn this information. And for those that's coming on board, if you don't mind, it's just up to you. You try to support the material because we just want to help somebody else. That's all. It's not me. Hit the like button. Just give to someone else because I'm trying to give to you. The community here is trying to give to you. The comments, the likes, it's for you guys, the new people that's coming on board. We want to make sure that we help others. Just want to say that to you. We want to make sure that we're helping others. If you're here just for yourself and you don't care about absolutely no one else, that's disturbing. I will say that. That's absolutely disturbing to have so many subscribers here. And there's maybe only six of you that would commit and continue to show a level of professionalism to like the information to further the content to try to get someone else the help that they need. All right. So and that's just me making my thoughts public. Private, but they're public. I'm letting you know. And there's an example there. I already ran a company online that was making me money, and I stopped. Think about that. So this is something. Again, I'm not here to make money. I'm here to help. That's all I want to do. And I would love to be associated with a community of people that want to do the same. And so I want to make sure, that the people that's showing that level of professionalism, and that's why I still have the channel here. Everyone that has commented, everyone that has left a comment, and for those that's hitting the like button, I don't know who you are. I thank you too. I just don't know who you are, but you're the reason why I'm leaving the channel up and running. I want to let you know that I started it to help others, but I see that I'm getting so many self entitled individuals that only care about themselves, and I I'm not someone to associate myself with the likes of people like that. I'm not. So just want to make sure that we all see what's happening here. That's all. I want to share that with my community. That's all. I want to be just as transparent as I possibly can. Now, Want to show you this, and then we're going to dive into the material. Trend failure. All right, now I kind of touched on this yesterday. I just want to do it again because this may be the last video I'll upload before next year. I might, do one more. I don't know, but I definitely think that this will be my last one. There's so many people that want to implement counter trend trading. So many people want to implement that. Now I want you to just see the parallel here. There's a lot of people that's new, possibly, and then of course there's people that's having trouble with this stuff. There's so many people that want to counter the market. I don't want you to do that. Hopefully, this channel will help you not to do that. All right. So it's all about universal trend, universal price action method. And so we want to make sure that we're doing just that. Want to make sure we're doing it. Now, I want to touch on several different things, but I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible because it's like 9:09. Let me show you guys what time it is. So it's like 9:09. So I want to make this as quick as possible. There's a lot of information online. And we're going to talk about the delivery of the content and how it works. Now, this is from the educational side. You may not be someone that educate people, but I want to kind of lay out a foundation for you to see what it takes to do it. And hopefully it'll help. And then I also want to point out to you, of course, the identity of the market, how to identify where you're at with the market, how to identify, the mind and what it does when it interacts with information. Again, every relationship is transactional, transformational. All right. Don't get paid for delivering free content. I don't. So it's all about transformation. I want to transform what it is that you think about the charts. I want to transform how you interpret the information. Really important that you have that there because the market, it has the same function. All right. And it's doing it all the time. It'll take your money and of course, well, not take it from you, but of course, there's a place of opportunity. You place a trade, and you lose, then of course, your money is extracted or you know taken from the account that you have. Now, but it's also transforming you, and so when you make the decision to place a trade, it's impacting your thought process. All right, now, so the mind is that which thinks. All right, it thinks, imagines, remembers, wills and senses, or is the set of faculties responsible for such phenomena. All right. The mind is also associated with experiencing perception, pleasure, pain, disbelief, well, belief. The opposite of that is disbelief. I'm sorry. Desire. There's so many things going on in my head while I'm reading. Intention and emotions. All right. Now, this is the main thing that people tend to complain about whenever they're dealing with trading. Discipline. This one line here. Let's take a look at this. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or code of behavior using punishment. Now, I've said this on many occasions. The market is not punishing you. All right. So when you place the trade, there's nobody on the opposite side of your trade doing absolutely nothing to you. They're not. It's a place of opportunity for the most part, anyway. Now, I want you to understand, even though you may associate, hey, I just need to implement more structure and all of this, all these funny words we get a get the dictionary and look up the word of a mean, the meaning of the word. Please do this. It'll help you to understand how it is that some of the statements that we make don't make sense. And so we need clarity. That's all. So it's not discipline. You're not dealing with a discipline issue because it's associated with punishment. It is, and you're not being punished. The market is just a marketplace, and so you have a store that buys and sells. Somebody else have a store that they buy and sell. Sometimes their prices are just a little bit better than yours. That's all it is. It's really simple, but I get the victim mentality. I get it. Now, intimidation is a behavior and legal wrong, which usually involves deterring or coercing an individual by threat or violence. So the market can almost make you feel intimidated. But if that be the case, then legally they're wrong, right? They can be held accountable for that action, but it's actually not the market itself. And that's why I pointed to the discipline. Problem is the mind and the perception of it. This includes intentional behaviors of forcing, all right, so we're down here now, forcing another person to experience general discomfort such as humiliation, embarrassment, inferiority, limited freedom. All right, so now let's take a look at fear. Fear is something that's happening too whenever people trade. Fear is an intense, unpleasant emotion in response to perceiving or recognizing a danger or a threat. All right. So fear causes psychological changes that may produce behavioral reactions such as mounting an aggressive response or fleeing the threat. All right. So just want to put that in front of you. Now, we're going to get ready to dive into the charts. I've never read any trading book. I've never read a trading book. I've never read it. Now, I never journaled my trades. I never back tested. Now, again, if you want to do all of that, you're more than welcome. Again, most people gather a level of confidence, if you will, from back testing. They do, or journaling. They gather confidence from that. But I want to make you aware that, as I just showed you, that the mind is responsible for several things. And one in which I think you can conquer fear by just being informed. You have to know what is there. You have to know what the mind can do. Also, you have to know what the mind of the market is doing. And so if I can explain to you, which I plan to do in this video, what happens with the information that's on the chart, 'cause that's all it is, information. It's not really open highs and lows and closes, at least not when I look at it. I don't interpret it as such, even though that's the reference point. And so when I, of course, use the crosshairs, click on them, whatever, I get a high, low, open, close, or whatever. But mentally, in my mind, I see it no more than every other decision that we make. It's just a choice, and someone is responsible for the representation of the information that I'm currently staring at. And so, if they're responsible for it, the origin of the information derived from the mental capacity of them being able to extend what it is that they had conjured in their thinking. And so I want you to see the chart in a way that is relative. And so it's not abstract. So you can actually see the market as yourself, one and the same. And so you won't be afraid of yourself. You won't intimidate yourself. And you won't feel, I guess, I would say, distant from the choices when you make it. You won't feel separate because the mind does that too. You'll make the choice. The mind does this. I promise you it do. Just look over your life. If you have anything you've ever regretted, the mind has just betrayed you because the mind gave you the idea and then it turned its back on you and said you're responsible for that decision and it begins to blame you. But what I want you to see when you look at the chart is the mind of the market. See what the mind, the thought process of the market, because the thought is associated with the outcome. And so if you can see the thought, you can interact with the thought based on certainty. And we're going to talk about that. Now, this is the old contract, 1223, and they did a rollover. So I'm gonna show you that chart too. And so they're at this static level. And I'm gonna get rid of this chart because I know that they should get through this area. So let's go with this one. All right, now you can tell that the pricing is different. You can tell if you don't mind, just go back and pause the video and take a look. But the pricing is different, and so the 550 is up here. Now remember, the 550 is a target. This is the target level dealing with the statics. Now down here, if you're new to the channel, I have you know that this is what I'm presenting to you. What channel do you do? What? How many channels give complete context for any market in any time frame? And so I'm trying to introduce to you thought and outcome. Outcome is here, destiny, if you will. The thought, destiny, and then of course the bar, which is habit, of it getting to where it needs to go, the action, the habit, all one and the same. And then you have your turning points. Now this can be the place where the mind has a point of deliberation, and now it's going to change. But then, of course, we have the thoughts, all right? The thoughts with the target, because this is where the outcome is, and this is where the destiny inevitably will be. And so the 55, it's where it's at now. The 550 is where it's at. We're always trying to get there. You had the target level here when they turned around and started coming up. You got to go for the 550. It's a part of the static. So if you're on the channel, and also I do give away the I don't have it, but let me get it for you. Let me get it for you so you'll know. I give away the templates. All of this information will be listed below. But I give away the templates for turning points, because everybody come here and they may want to do different things. And I want to provide you all the information that you would need in order to feel confident about your trading. And so I give you 3 templates actually here. So if you want to kind of skip some of this information, I cover this, the primary focus of the channel, price action method. What is the trend? And here's the turning point. So I give you three different turning points. And so I give you three different templates for this for free. And I'm only doing it until May. So if you want them, you might want to go ahead and grab them right now. All right. So that's going to be there until May. And then I'll be, refraining from doing that as well. Now, the goal is to get to that 550. So on the daily, now I got intraday targets too that I plot as well, but just not on this chart. And I actually got to redo them because now we have contract rollover. So those targets, the prices won't be as relative. I'm gonna have to kind of give you guys some new prices. But 55, that's where they at, 550. All right, and so we use static levels. Now, this is what's going to happen for those that think it's just going to take off running. Yeah, it very much can, but I did put here to get to the 50% mark of this run above the high. So to get the 50% mark of this run above this high right here. And I, drew a line that, go straight to it so you'll know. So if they take off running, they would have to hit this trend distance pretty much to get the midpoint of this next run above this pivot. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Now they are going to have to do this. In order for that to happen, they're going to have to do it without, any kind of base or pullback forming. So they would have to just kind of get straight away to right here they're gonna have to get straight there without another two red bars being lower. All right. So today we can be positive. I believe they might can get through this zone. Possibly. I did give y'all a target yesterday. So I don't know. I hope they don't want to come right back off of that and come back under this bar because then they'll go through this. I think they'll absolutely go through this if they try to turn from this target. And that wouldn't be fun. I do think that they'll pick it right back up here and then go up again. I do if they tried that, but I don't think that's it. I think they may want to keep going, get about right close to here and then turn around and kind of lean over a little bit and then take off again. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's my assessment of the daily chart if you're a swing trader. Let's go ahead and kind of dive into some of this other information that's for the swing trader because we got 9:30 about to come and I want to talk to you guys a little bit before that happens. And then I'm going to sit around and read the chart with you for about 30 minutes, 15, 30 minutes, somewhere in between there. All right. So we got time here. Okay. We got time. Time is the continued sequence of events, okay, that occurs in an irreversible succession from the past through the present and into the future. Again, I never read any trading book. I read dictionary, encyclopedia, and even the Bible. I read, of course, the dictionary and encyclopedia because there's words in it. And I like universal. Universal is the thing to do it for me. Why read a bunch of different books when the dictionary got all the words that's incorporated in all books? So I just want to go to the source. And that's why I like reading the dictionary and encyclopedia. Now, to get to know the author and the intent of the author, then yes, I would have to read the book. But in order to know the words or the verbiage that's associated with the book, I like to go and read the actual dictionary because then it's like reading every book ever written. That's just what I interpret as being necessary. So, participation trends are irreversible for the most part until there's a change of mind. That's the most important word. That one right there. Participation, the action of taking part in something. Destiny. Now, this is important. Destiny, okay, is the events that will necessarily, and this is dealing with inevitability, necessarily happen to a particular person, thing in the future. Fate. So you're here by fate. Someone liked the video. YouTube said, hey, this is a safe place to learn and maybe have suggested it for you. Or someone told you about the channel. All right. So now this is us, thought, action, habit, character, destiny. We choose outcome, but we cannot control it. We trust in its function. So there's a thing called fluid intelligence. You can go learn about it. I'll try to talk to you about it a little bit here. Fluid intelligence is a function of the mind, the market. Now, this is the most important part. The market, the participants. Again, it can be one mind or a collection of minds, but someone thought of this whole up and down scenario. All right, somebody thought of it. And so, if the mind thought of it, absent of time, there's no time here. And the reason why I say it's no time because we envision the outcome, and so we don't even have the process available, but yet we see what we want in the end. And so, the market is the same thing. It has been thought of. The origin of where it derived from is out of thought, whether collective or otherwise. The participants, now this is the thing that makes the market so sophisticated because the participants, even though we can't control our outcome, they can. So they have thought of this way of making money, created it. Okay, they created it, and then they designed its function to ensure. Okay, they want to take a quick dive there. They want to go up really, really sharp. Okay, so they want to ensure that the outcome is going to be delivered. So they want to make sure that they involve themselves, and that's the thing that's funny. They involve themselves in the outcome and have designed the certainty, if you will, that it will absolutely happen. Now, the DTT no touch no close. Uh, I guess yeah, I call it a real time identification process, and I just name it based on what it's doing. Is a it's a real time process for this function. So that's all this is, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it in real time for about at least 15 to 20 minutes. I want you to be able to look at the market based on function. That's all. It's the way it moves, and it can be recorded for historical reference. Now, again, I haven't done any back testing. I only done forward testing in my life. I've been trading professionally for many, many years. I only traded forward, real money, and lost quite a bit of it. I can assure you. To learn what I know about the market. And the reason why I approached it that way, because I know the market is a mine. And so people can have, of course, their secrets, if you will. And now the chart, it offers to you, information, hindsight, that's not, of course, hidden from you. The market is working on information in real time that's hidden from you at the edge of choice, right? Sitting right at the edge of choice. And I want you to know how to interpret what it may be wanting to do before it shows up. Just possibly. Good chance. That's all. But once it's there, now, once it reveals its thought, once it reveals its thought, it's done through action and then it's habitual and then it becomes defined and then it's outcome. Now, I don't know, many of you may look at trends as this. I'll draw an example for you. Higher highs, higher lows, then you get some kind of trend line. Well, the problem with that would be this: it's habitual, in its process. Okay. Then you look at the chart and you say, hey, that's a trend. And so now you can define it. Okay. And then you hope that it hasn't, reached this destination, this destiny. And so if you get in too late, it'll turn on you, and then you wondering why all of your, putting your trend lines, your moving averages, if you will, you're wondering why won't none of these pivots hold when it goes to turn around. Because you're entering in right at the moment where it's no longer at action, where you need it to take action, be a part of it, shaping itself. So then by the time, people can clearly see it's a trend, you're exiting and taking your money at the destinated place. And we're going to talk about that destination. All right. So now this is the price pattern. We're going to go over that. But here's the thing that I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to presenting information. All right. So building and sustaining your focus is important, but it needs to be done without an abundance of abstract concepts. So I want to tell you, this is my thinking I'm sharing with you here, not definitions. I need to share with you information that's not abstract, that's not uh, not far away from what's actually happening on the chart, and that's important. That's really important. That's why I'm giving you definitions so you can trace its steps, so you can see it as I explain it to you. I want to solidify your thought process about the market. Have you have a foundation of thought and then bring about validity to it. I want it to be valid. I want it to be proven, something that is not argumentative, that we both are seeing the same exact thing, and it's not subjective, and it has nothing to do with terminology. Now, I know the market is, well, current price is always an estimation. And then, of course, when we start to read prices and evaluation, I totally get that process. I get it and I understand. But I want to give you some information that, again, it's not subjective terminology. And that's why I use definitions. That's why I talk to you about who you are. And that's why we talked about the mind, the fear, the intimidation, discipline. We talk about who we are because who we are, you'll see that the market is just a thought. It's just someone thinking, and their thoughts is happening right in front of you. And I want you to be a part of it. And so that way we get. Now we're gonna go back to what we was talking about before we got to the mind, the transactional and transformational effect. Because remember, that's what we're doing when we have relationships. You know, We're transacting or transformating. We're transforming someone. All right. And so I don't want the market to transform your trading and have you essentially upside down, negative, in your bottom line. I don't want that for you. All right. So anyone who uses, now here's the most important thing, anyone who uses created terminology isolates their listeners to appear superior on the topic. This is a tactic to reduce familiarity. All right. So anyone that's doing this, coming up with a lot of different terms, is essentially trying to distance you from what really should be disclosed. I'll say it that way. Because in order to enslave, and I'll say this, in order to enslave anyone, you have to keep them ignorant. I want to say that one more time. In order to enslave anyone, you have to keep them ignorant. That's the only way you can cause someone to be subject to you. You have to keep their mind blind from the reality of what needs to be disclosed. And so it wouldn't make sense for me to come up with a bunch of terms about the market that you can't readily identify straight away. Absolutely unprofessional behavior, and I won't have no parts of it. So I want to tell you information that you yourself can trace the steps. Now, fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the ability to think abstractly. Now, this is very important, people, really important. To think abstractly, reason quickly, and problem solve independently of any previous acquired knowledge. And so that's why back testing, journaling, I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do none of that. And I'm gonna make sure you don't have to do it either. It's not to say that you need to put it away. Absolutely not. I think it's okay to. It's 9:30. Let me slide this over so you can see the candlesticks. I think that it's absolutely necessary for you to do whatever makes you feel confident about trading. So do it, do it, do it. Don't put it away if it's been helping you. By all means, just keep doing it. I just want to give you an additional aspect of being able to evaluate price. Remember, price is an estimation. That's all it is, an estimation. And then when we go to read it, we're just taking an evaluation of it. And so I want to give you a tool to be able to evaluate price. That's all. Real time identification process. All right. Now, the thought. Now, this is where we get ready to go to work. The thought isn't, now this is definition, an idea or an opinion produced by thinking or occurring, excuse me, suddenly in the mind. Okay, so now to abandon this idea, give up completely a course of action, okay, a course of action or practice, there's that habit, or a way of thinking. Now, this is trend distance failure. The commitment, we're going to take a look at commitment too on the chart. The state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. Really simple stuff. All right. Now, let me just do this real quickly. We're going to definitely get ready to look at this chart. Now, buying and selling. This is why universal is so important, people. The definition of buying and selling is right here, applicable to all cases. Buying and selling is happening on all price levels. Universal is applicable to all cases. So we need to make sure that our application of information needs to reflect that of which is transpiring in front of us. So we want to pair the two very well. We want to make sure that both of them match. I mean, absolutely match by far. All right, we want them both to collectively reflect what it is that's going on. So procedural, now this is an important word. Anything in blue is the function, all right? Procedural is relating to an established or an official way of doing something. Again, if the doctor is going to operate on you, I can assure you that he's going to do the same thing over and over and over again, no matter who he is operating on. So if you're wondering why this candle look like this is a 1 minute and it's the NQ, and this is a 15-second. All right. So they kind of just look a little different. That's all. So if you're looking at this chart over here and then looking at that one, don't know why these, candles are this way and that one's that way. They're just different time frames. All right. Don't want to throw you off. But procedural knowledge, really important stuff. Now, let me get this out the way. We get ready to go into the charts and we're going to spend a little bit of time doing all of that. All right. So now let me just move this. Now, I managed to mark the chart up a little bit here, kind of highlighting what it is that I just read to you. And I wanted to do it at a point where it was really crazy. All right. Not really crazy, but to someone that don't know this information, it's crazy. All right, because you'll see them do something real funny over here. All right, now there's the trend, there's the thought. Thought. Now I put the definition there for you. Thought is an idea or an opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. So that's what a thought is. And I hope that you're just like me. I believe you are. Whenever you think, you have the end present in the thought. The end is already factored in, the destiny, if you will. The outcome is already in your mind when you think of what it is that you want. And so please understand this. You need to get this part of it because if you get this, I promise you, your trading will change. If you look at the chart based on what it actually is doing, when the trend is set, this is the reason why you can rest assured. Because remember, the participants create the outcome and ensure with the function that the outcome would absolutely happen. Let's remove the fear. Let's remove the doubt. Let's get rid of the anxiety. Now, here, yeah, they created a thought and it didn't want to go. And I'm glad it didn't because now I get to show you why. These little C's under the bars, okay, man, they try to help you understand that along the way, if you ever get to going somewhere and you just said to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna go over here. No, I saw something over here. I think I'm gonna get this. No, and you could be headed to the store and you could probably see a better deal. You pass another store and see a better deal, and you stop, say, I'm gonna just stop here and get it from here. I don't even want to go that far. So we want to see if you can get consecutive closes above this bar. That's all. And so when you start to see that that's not there, I mean, you can see it kind of fading away here. You can almost anticipate to some degree it's going to pull back. Even if it's going to keep going, it's going to pull back. And so I'm trying to give you just small little tidbits, if you will, to little tips, to try to for free. I can't tell you everything, little things to just kind of help you read when this may happen. Now, you may have your own way of interpreting a trend failure at some point. Yeah, you may find that there's some other nuances to it that I'm just not telling you, but you may find that there's some other nuances that eludes to when it would fail. All right. Now, but I do want you to look at it for what it actually is, and it's someone's thinking. Maybe not one individual. Like I said, it can be a collective group of minds. Yeah, and because in order to program any kind of machine algorithms and all of that stuff that hedge funds, banks, and all that stuff use, they have to use someone, a quant developer, in order to get it to work. They have to tell the quant developer, go to work and start putting together all these different requirements. And of course, their stop loss isn't based on it's not based on these patterns. I can assure you that it's percentages. And so that's why I told you the chart offers you information and is all in the representation of numbers. All right. All in numbers. That's all it is. And so portfolios aren't managed by, hey, there's a harami on the page, there's some engulfing. It's not done in that manner. It's not because of the level of size and the things they have to do. But I want you to see the thought process there. That's the point of what I'm saying. Here's the thought, there's the destiny. All right. So now let's dive into the real time. If you start to see, now here's that deliberation and a re-engaging of that thought, okay, because they never broke the bottom of that. So here's that deliberation, the re-engaging of that thought process, and they inevitably made it up there to that trend distance. But before doing so, it failed. It just failed. A course of action, a practice, or a way of thinking. They gave up completely and went the other way. They had a change of mind. So now here's the center of the trend. Okay, here's the center of the trend. Now, the center of the trend. Now, this is the interesting part too. The center of the trend is the cost of the thought. And I know, just like anybody would, if you go to make a decision, before you make the decision, hopefully, if you don't want to keep living with regret, you would factor in, because every time we make a decision, it's based on value, whether it's primary or secondary, it's based on value. When you go to make the decision, you're factoring in costs. And for women, it may be, hey, I don't have nothing to wear. For the man, it may be, hey, we got to stop and get gas, or we're going somewhere and there's a contribution needed. So how much am I have to give? And so there's a cost associated with it. And so, when you look at, the thought being, developed, on the way of it being developed, you'll find that most of the time at the center of the trend, you may find a base of some sort because there's a cost associated with the thought, with getting it this far. And so the more you begin to look at trends, and before they set the trend, you may see the cost of the thought. What would it cost me to make this thought actually go as far as it need to go? All right, so now let's start looking at these charts and then I'm gonna let you go. All right, so here's that let me just open this up a little bit so you guys can see it. And they should go through that bottom. You see the mid kind of falling beneath this low, or are they working on the cost of thought? So this bar should turn red. This becomes the no close level, and that is the hard stop. You don't see 7 bars in here, so it's still down. But let's see if it's going to turn around. And if it is, it'll land somewhere up here. And then it should base and then kind of take off again. Let's see if that actually happens. Let's count our bars. I want you to see the chart based on thought. That's all. It's really simple because when you look at the chart and you're no longer treating it as if it's some kind of abstract interaction, that it's actually what you're doing. It's the chart is indicative of who you are as well. It's a process that it goes through that's just like yours. And then you'll feel confident about the interaction as you would with any relationship that you're entering in. Fully aware of what's available. I would say it that way. Now, there's some relationships you probably wish I wish I don't want you to feel that way about the market. I don't want you to wake up and want to quit and not, feel like you should have taken this on as an endeavor. I want you to be confident. I'm glad I learned it. I'm glad I learned it, because it's just a relationship. And so to get the best out of it, you just need to know, I forgot to count this one. You just need to know what's there. That's all. You just need to know what's there. And hopefully I can do my job to allow you to see it. I want you to see it very plainly so you're not again taken advantage of mentally. And that's really the main thing that's happening. It's you taking advantage of yourself. Remember, I told you it's not a discipline issue because then it's some kind of punishment. But this is just a marketplace where it's just buying and selling. It's a store. That's all. And so you don't have to have buyer's remorse or guilt or anything like that associated with what you're doing with the market. You don't have to. You just need to be informed of this is a relationship at best. Even though it's a marketplace, it's a relationship. That's all it is. Somebody has something on their mind and you got something on your mind, and you just got to make sure that your destiny or your outcome of where you want to enter, where you want to get out, actually aligns to what it is that they want to do. And so then you get an interdependent connection there because there's, ways that we supposed to interact and develop. And of course, independent, interdependent, or, being dependent upon someone. You can be independent, you can be dependent, or interdependency. These are 3 ways that we begin to grow as people. And so when you go to interact with the market, you want to develop a level of interdependency with the market, that you work with the market and don't try to counter the market. Don't always try to get in front of it and try to change its mind. You can't change the market's mind. No one can change yours. I can insist. I can potentially influence you, but it's you inevitably that have to make the choice to say, "Hey, I will consider that, and now I will factor that into my choice making." And that's what you want to do with the market. You want to allow it to influence you only when it's apparent. Only when it's apparent to you what its plan is. All right. So really important that you get that the market, listen to it. You don't have to listen to me. Listen to the market. Listen to what it's telling you. What is it telling you? And then listen to the market. It's the only thing that can actually advise you, to be honest with you. And so I don't have to go dig through a bunch of different pivots. I'm just going to look right at the chart. They're not in the uptrend yet. They're not. Now, if they're going to go up, I gave you what I thought, but that's not what they're wanting to do. They're still hitting this participation bar. There's one right here. They're not getting past it. They're turning back around. They're coming back. It's going to go down lower. It's just that simple. Now, how to time yourself into it? Again, you got to go back and look at the diagram, but I'll point it out. This mid, that black horizontal line needs to fall beneath that low. If not, you're going to get some more overlap. Possibly. You might. Okay, there it is. It's beneath the low. The bar turns red. Now you can still rotate back up, but this would be the hard stop. That's all. Otherwise, it's going to keep going down some more. Yep, going down some more. Now it can be 1 bar or it can be 100 bars. But I'm trying to give you something that you can read it in real time. That's the main thing. If that black floater falls beneath this bar's low, it should go down some more. It didn't. Now it's above the bar's high. Now let's see if it can stay that way. Yeah, it finished that way. Then let's see if it won't trigger that stop and push up just a little bit higher. Yeah, it's pushing up a little bit higher. It broke this high. And so it's really just it's furthering the thought process. That's all. It's saying, hey, I think that I want to do this and I'm gonna move towards my goal. Remember, it's thought, action, habit, character, destiny, outcome. And so when it deals with the ratio, and that's all I'm telling you about the market, it's not bar patterns when it comes to numbers. They're giving you that as a reference point, for yourself. If of course, picking time frames and you believe in that stuff. Let me just throw this here. We're going to do the same thing with the chart. All right, so we're going to throw this here. Let me kind of make this line just a tad bit thicker if I can here. All right, just want to make this thicker. All right, so this is the center of the scale. We're going to do it like this. This is the center of the scale here. If it hurry ups and lets it go, I got a whole bunch of charts open. Let it go. All right, awesome. So this is the center of the scale. All right, and so what it is, it's just going to deal with bias moving forward. Now, I went and made a video about majority. You're more than welcome to go back and take a look. A majority is just more than half the total, more than half the sum of the total. So you just want more than half the sum of the total. If they're beneath that line right here, and it's all about moving forward, time, the invaluable thing down here, the bottom thing that they're going to spend all their time trying to do, and that's throw your timing off. And I say they because most people have a mentality of, hey, I'm a victim of the market. I don't want you to be a victim. I want you to be a winner. You can succeed and have confidence in your trading. You do not have to think that this thing is just going to take everything from you. You just need to understand what it's doing. That's the no close level. They're hitting it several times. They don't want to close above it, but they're beneath here. So we hope that they'll turn back around. But if they keep doing these little teeny closes higher and higher, that'll be a trend and they'll end up here. But that's that part. Now, for the lower half of the chart, I'm gonna just throw another line here. I'm not gonna try to change the color because it may take forever for it to let the thing go. Don't want to do that. So remember, it started with a thought. So this is the lower half of the chart. So we're dividing it in halves. That's all we're doing. We're going to divide the chart in half, make it real simple. So when you pull up the chart at first glance, you should know what's going to happen. All right. Now, remember, I told you if they ever go to set a trend and try to turn it around, you'll see the participation bars somewhere right at the COT, the center of the thought, where the center of the trend, the center of the cost of the thought. You'll see it right there somewhere where they're trying to make the trend. Now, I did tell you the sooner that the pattern show up, because this is the pattern right here, right directly on the bottom. It wasn't directly on the bottom here. The sooner it show up, they're becoming just a tad bit eager, if you will. That's all. They're becoming a tad bit eager. It showed up fairly immediate here, and look what happened when they blew right past it. They just couldn't get back up past it, and it went lower. So I'm trying to give you like little hints about it. So the sooner it show up, the much more likely it will work because it's a shock because these are participation bars. And so this is the real action, if you will, and the eagerness to get price to go. Now, if you got real eager, which they didn't do it at first, it actually came in here. They didn't do it at first, but you got real eager to go and then you turn around, then you run right past it. Yeah, it caused a problem. Now, let's look at now this is a 15-second chart. And I'm gonna go to a plain chart for those that don't have this indicator. I'm gonna go to a plain chart so we can just look at it on a plain chart and it won't have the bar color and all of that. All right. So, but I'm gonna do this for just a moment. Then we'll go to the plain chart. Oh man, I got rid of the center of my screen here. Let me just throw another line back there for a second. All right, so let me do that. All right, so didn't mean to do that. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. Oh, got the wrong thing. So remember, I told you that once the thoughts show up, the outcome is present with the thought because that's how we are as people. When we think of something, we have the outcome in mind. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. So if that's 7, now let's measure it, and then I'm gonna go to the plane chart, and then I'll bring this one back. But I want you to look at the plane chart too, because there's some of you that just don't have this function. Now you can have this indicator if you want it. It's for purchase if you want it. All you gotta do is email me, and I'll tell you the cost, and you can work from there. And it's actually probably less than just one trade, and I give you like several different functions and another one that'll read the value for you. That's if you want it. I'm not here for that though. But I just want you to have the best. That's all. Have the best that you need, so that way you can already have it in your chart, potentially where it's at. That's all. If they move up near it, potentially that's where they can. Now, clearly, let's over the center of the chart. Now, it's a couple ways that they can go about getting to their destination, because when they have a thought, when you have a thought, you have the outcome in mind. All right, so they can have the outcome there, or it can come off of here. All right, so they kind of paused right after they made that seventh bar. See, they made the seventh bar, then they paused, and it can come off the center of the lower half of the chart, or the center. Well, it's not even the center of this up. The center of the uptrend is actually right down in this area here. And so they pause, they hit the lower half of the chart, give or take, and now they're almost to that distance. Let's see if they can make that one there. And then I'm gonna show you the plain chart. It's the same information. It's just my bars highlight the information for you, so you don't have to keep track of it itself. All right, and that's all it does. Now, typically, once they go the distance of the trend, they usually, well, once they get to their outcome, and it's the thing that I was telling you before, is that most people, they want to look at trends like this. All right, they want to do this. All right. But you have to account for the fact that thought, action, habit, character, destiny, once you see something happen several times, that's habit, character, and then destiny is where they're closest to. And so the origin of the thought ends up showing up here, because it travels with the action, because you have the end in mind. As you begin to act with the thought in mind, the destiny travels with it, and then presently it becomes apparent, and that's where you get character. And then inevitably it'll turn, and then it would possibly revert and challenge whether or not it's of any use to keep continuing in that manner. Now, once it does this a few times, there's, of course, deliberation, if you will, a chance for you to reevaluate or realign yourself to the idea, and then go again, or have a new idea and abort or abandon that prior concept. That's all. And so let's see if it'll get there, and then of course, from there we'll take a look at. Well, matter of fact, let's do that. Let's just slide this over so we can take a look at the plane chart. I'm gonna lock this though. I'm gonna lock this one, and we're gonna take a look at the plane chart for those that don't have the indicator, and you may be using a different platform. It's still relative. It's still relative. Let's look at both for a few more minutes here. Again, this video is just a tad bit longer because I plan on exiting here, and I'll be back sometime. I don't know. I'll just be back, man. I'll be back at some point with another video. But please, for my subscribers, those that have been participating, please retain the information. I really want the best for you guys. Those that have been implementing the content and letting me know how you're doing with it, make sure you retain this content, please. I really want the best for you. I really do. And I want the best for everyone here. I don't want you to think, I don't care about all of you guys. I do. Even though, again, you may not support the material. You may not, of course, want to share and care about others. I still want the best for you. I do. I think everybody deserves an opportunity to succeed. It's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong for you to succeed and you don't care enough about somebody else, and somebody took the time to care about you. That's wrong. And you shouldn't live that way. You shouldn't. I'll be outright and tell you that. You shouldn't want to do that. You shouldn't want to wake up and succeed and see other people, having a hard time, and you don't care enough when someone cared about you. You shouldn't do that. It's wrong. We adults, and we sometimes need to just hear the truth, and that's all it is. We need to hear the truth, and hopefully you'll align yourself and go ahead and support the information, because people can have a disdain for educators, don't like them, and I totally get it. I understand. There may be people that'll take advantage of you, clearly, and I understand that. But when an educator takes the time to inform you and tell you information, and information that you can use, you can see, it's not. I'm not making this stuff up. It's right in front of you. If you can use it and it benefits you, wow, it's free, and I'm not charging you nothing. Don't want nothing from you. All I would want is that you just help someone else. That's it. That's it. You're not giving anything to me. You're giving somebody else something. And the same thing that has happened for you. It's a process. It's supposed to be thought, action, habit, character, destiny. I'm trying to implement an habitual action that would inevitably put someone else ahead. Can you see it? I'm trying to implement an action and continuously implement it until it puts someone else ahead. Let's see if it can give us one more push up to this upper level, and then I would absolutely let you guys go. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3. This is 4. Yeah, they'll come back down here and test. Can they sustain up here? Can they sustain up there? Let's see. Mm, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 5. They don't want to turn it back around. We'll only need a couple more to go, and it'll be heading back down to the bottom. Oh, well, that's not fun. That's not fun. And the same thing that's happening here is just again, if using, of course, the indicator here, should you want it, it just makes it a lot easier on the eyes. That's all. But if you're not a NinjaTrader 8 user, again, you could still do it. It's one of them things where you won't be exact sometimes because sometimes it's really apparent that the mid is below the bar or above the bar. It's really apparent. But then there's in some instances where, because it's math and there's a level of exactness that needs to be there, you may not be able to nail it. But usually it's really apparent. Usually, for the most part, it's apparent. For the most part. Like this is apparent. You'll be able to easily spot this no matter what platform you're on. You'll be able to spot that. It's really apparent. Maybe not so much this one, but definitely this one. It's apparent. So let's see what the response is up here. And again, it wasn't 7 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's not 7, there's the pop up. Let's see if it'll do that same distance here. Let me just grab this really quickly. Well, it's almost there. It's definitely close. So they're just going to keep implementing what's already on their mind. It's just like us. And that's why I want you to feel confident. I want you to have absolute confidence when you trade. I want you to have absolute confidence when you trade. I'm a professional trader, been doing it for many, many years. Most professionals would not get online and show you absolutely nothing that'll make sense. And even if they do, they're going to hit you with a bunch of subjective terms, won't give you complete context. That's the other part. They'll tell you something that'll happen sometimes that's you're going to need 5 different time frames in order to be able to spot it, you know. And just for those, now this is just for those. Let me do this. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me do this. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do this before I go. I'm gonna do this before I go. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. I'm gonna do something before I go. No competition. There's never any kind of competition. I just want you to know what's available, all right, to the public. I want you to know what's happening, what what people usually do. People do some really interesting stuff. Give it a second. I'm loading a template here. People do some interesting stuff, and it's based on how they interpret the market. As myself, I interpret the market a particular way, and it's easy. And I want to make it easy for you. Let me take this off top. I just want to do this, and then I'm gonna leave. There's a lot of terminology online. All right, a lot of terminology. Identifying the function of the market, you need to do it in real time. And you don't need to look back and you don't need a lot of terminology. You don't need a lot of different terms. You don't need a lot of indicators, third party indicators, and you don't need to be purchasing a bunch of different software. I want to make sure that you can see the chart very objectively. Now, you can go back into any of your charts and see that this pattern, these little green bars, is showing up before these boxes, before this supposed gap. Okay, the green bar is going to show up in 2 bars, not 3. It don't take 3, and you can know what's happening just with this one pushing high enough while it's in motion, where you don't have to risk a lot of your capital. It's a function. It's happening. It's happening. I promise you, it's happening without all of the different terminology. It's happening. It's just the market's thought process. See, and if this, well, no, it's not gonna work now. But once that mid jumps above the high of this candle, it depends on how far that candle is, that box gonna show up in another 15 seconds. But why wait? Because this bar could have just turned around and ran even further and then wait for it to come all the way back for you to pick it up and then go. Be the box. Be the box. Again, I have no qualms with anyone's content. Absolutely none. You should profit. You should profit from that aspect. You should, because this is in it. I just want you to be in the trade before the box show up. Please hurry up and get in it because the risk just goes up. That's all. And then you are going to try to change. Now, here's the thing: depends on how far away they're coming from. And this is something I want you to know for everybody that want to buy boxes or sell boxes or gaps, if you will. Let's go with gaps. Everybody want to do that. I want to tell you this: depends on how far away the market is coming from. You can get ran over by the thought, the inevitable outcome. It's destiny. All right. So I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.